Happy Monday, 7th graders. This is Mrs. Rowe, and I'm homesick, so I'm just going to do your lesson online here. So you'll follow along. You'll need the handout. If you did not get a handout, make sure that you ask our guest teacher for a copy of the handout. And we're going to talk about the outsiders and the characters and how to make inferences about the characters. So we've learned some things about the greasers. There's the greasers. We're going to talk about some of the socias. And we have the socias that we've met so far, the main ones anyhow, are Cherry, Valence, Marcia, Randy, and Bob. And they're the ones that are from the west side of Tulsa. And what we need to know about the socias is they are the ones that have all the breaks. They are the ones that get to have the fancy cars, the cool clothes, they get the good grades. There's a lot expected from them in society. They have different pressures, and Sherry talks about that. The two gangs, the Greasers and the Socias, have very different values. They have unique family situations, but they're both dedicated to their gains. So when we think about Greasers and Socias, although there's lots of things that make them different, and most obviously are the physical traits, there are also some character traits that make them different in retrospect, and then also things that make them similar. Characterization and point of view are very important. In this story, we're learning about Ponyboy and how he's kind of learning about who he is, how he fits in the world, and how he sees himself. And so when we're talking about point of view, and it's really important when we're learning about a character who's trying to figure out themselves, it should be written from that person's point of view. So it's this first person point of view. And the reason why is because then we understand what he's thinking and what he's going through. But the limitations are that we don't always get to hear about other characters' perspectives. So Ponyboy's point of view limits us, our vision of other characters. We only know Ponyboy's perception of himself and others. He doesn't know why Derry is so hard on him, therefore we don't get to know either. We can make some speculation, but we don't know unless we're Derry. We know the Socias are abusive and violent because Ponyboy shows us their cruelty. And we know Ponyboy favors Soda Pop over Derry because he gives us evidence like this. I love Soda Pop more than I've ever loved anyone. And that's on page 3. So we want to look for evidence, and we want to look for specific textual evidence when we're trying to make an inference. When we're looking for explicit evidence, that's when the author comes straight out and tells us something. But writing is an art, and to keep readers interested and to make your story sound interesting, you have to keep sharing information in different ways. You can't just keep on telling the author or the reader things like the character is boring, the character doesn't like school, the character doesn't like to read. You have to show them, and you have to give little situational stories and anecdotes that show us that. That makes it interesting for us. It keeps us on our toes, and we know that there's hints and clues that are going to be thrown to us, and we know that we need to pick up on Star to help us get the clues that the character is laying down. So we look for speech, thoughts, appearance, actions, and the reactions of others. We also have to keep in mind that character traits are not feelings. Feelings are fleeting, which means they come and go fast. We all can feel sad, and we all can feel mad, and we can all feel happy. But character traits are tried and true. They stick with the character because it's part of who they are. It's their personality. If you look at the back of your character organizer, you can see the differences between character feelings and traits. So you have a bunch of feelings that are listed on one side of the sheet, and these are things like sad, amused, bored, lonely, angry, irritated, scared. Those are feelings. I mean, if somebody is about to get killed, they're going to be scared. That's not part of their personality. That's a common thing that we all would feel, right? Character traits are tried and true. These are things that stick with their person and are part of their personality. Unless something major happens to change that person, they're usually like this. They're going to be like this. They're going to be lazy. They're going to be serious. They're going to be loving. They're going to be studious. They're going to be selfish. And inferences help us because we have to think about the kind of inferences we need to make and what we learn from those inferences. So if you turn your book to page 3 or about page 3, it might be a little bit different on your book. This is the part where Ponyboy steps out of the movie theater and he talks about how he likes to watch movies undisturbed so he can go into them and live them with the actors. He goes on and he says, when I see a movie with someone, it's kind of uncomfortable, like having someone read your book over your shoulder. I'm different that way. I mean, my second oldest brother, Soda, who is 16 going on 17, never cracks a book at all. And my oldest brother, Daryl, who we call Derry, works too long and hard to be interested in a story or drawing a picture, so I'm not like them. And nobody in our gang digs movies and books the way I do. For a while there, I thought I was the only person in the world that did. Now, we might think, well, he's feeling alone, he's lonely. Well, that's a feeling. That's something he's feeling. He's not feeling alone. He's not lonely. He's talking about how he feels different. He's feeling different because he's a little bit more thoughtful. He's more pensive. He likes to think things through. He likes to be independent and be on his own. These are all character traits that we could find on this side. It's really important that if you look at your character trait sheet and you're going through and you're seeing words you don't know, highlight them, look them up, and write down the definitions so that you can use these definitions. When we're looking at what Ponyboy is saying about himself, I might say that he wants to think a lot. He thinks a lot. He's a dreamer. But I also could say he's pensive. He is deep in thought, which is different than thoughtful. Thoughtful is someone who's thinking about other people or always thinking about how to put others first. He's thoughtful. We're thinking more of deep in thought, which is pensive. But he also says he's a dreamer, which could be a character trait for him based on this quote as well. I inferred that because of what he said about he likes to be on his own. He likes to think things through. He loves breaking open books. He loves watching movies, and he likes to get into them and live them with the actors. And so on my character sheet, I would put down Ponyboy. I could say he's a dreamer. I could even add in here that, well, he's a bit pensive, and I inferred that information. They didn't explicitly say he's a dreamer, he's pensive. I inferred it, and I found it on page 3, and I wrote the quote as I found it. What you're going to do is you're going to now go through and you're going to look at the same slides. You're going to have all these slides, so you'll get to go through these slides on your own in Google Classroom. So you'll go into our ELA 7 Google Classroom, not my web page, our Google Classroom. You're going to our Google Classroom, and you're going to open up this lesson and you're going to write these in. So you're going to find this information, and you're going to think about what we can infer about dairy here. What can we infer about soda pop here? And then when we're thinking about all 3 brothers and their relationship, is there anything you can infer based on what we've learned and their dynamics? You're going to use your graphic organizer. You're going to look at the back and the highlighted words that you do not know, and those are the ones you should look up and find definitions. And you're going to try to find character traits. You can also use words that are not on the list. That's there just to help you. This is not a list of all character traits. There are many more, but I want you to be familiar with the difference between the feelings versus traits, so that's why I have them there. When you're done and you've added these quotes onto your character sheet, then you can go on to my website and find my Write 10 assignment for today. It's a mindset assignment, and do your Write 10 activity. That's it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will hopefully see you Tuesday.